Hey y'all, it's Taylor. Welcome to another video. These are a series of let's get freaking real, go deep, dive deep kind of videos because that's where I'm at. This is what's feeling true for me to share right now. So I understand if you are normally here for like raw vegan recipes and love and light and whatever else I do. Talk about my thyroid. It is doing really good. Obviously, I'm speaking my truth. So on a energetic throat chakra level, all is well. I am here today because I want to share with you a life update. Everything that's been going on in the world really was a spear into my heart, a full body, full being catalyst for yet another identity crisis. And I am no stranger to identity crises. I started having them at a very young age. It was not a midlife kind of event for me. I've lived many lifetimes within this lifetime. And if you follow me on Instagram, Joyful Raw Life, then you know that. Because recently I've been sharing bits and pieces of my healing journey, and what a ride it has been. I am so grateful for all the healing and the wisdom that I've gained in the process. So without further ado, this time period in my life has, these past few months of chaos in the world and oh my God, what's going on? Is there going to be a new world order? What about the new earth? Are we moving into a cashless society? Are we moving into 5G controlling human behavior? Are we moving into a phase of mandatory vaccination? Are we moving into a phase where human beings are being microchipped and their behavior controlled by constantly being tracked, constantly being watched, being rewarded, being dependent on a system that is not actually in our best interest? Are we looking at a Hunger Games type society? Are we looking at a totalitarian type society? Are we looking at a one world government, one world economy, a future of economic collapse, of increasing dependence on a government, a centralized banking system that's even worse than our current situation? So all of this has brought up so much in terms of how I'm living my life, the systems that I am dependent on, and how I've gotten pretty comfortable and cozy in this little matrix, and how yet again I started living and co-creating a dream that really is not 100% aligned with my soul purpose and my true heart's desire. So all of that has been coming up, and with it has been this need to make changes, pretty dramatic changes, to ensure that I am living in the most aligned way with my soul purpose, with my inner calling. Yeah, what I've realized is that the truest expression of my life is a return to Mother Nature, is a answering of her call. I feel I'm being recruited by Mother Earth to work for Mother Earth. No corporation, no company, but for Mother Earth herself. And that, this is a call I've been receiving my whole life. I remember years ago thinking about things like going into the wild and just going into the wild, like that movie and that book, Into the Wild. But he ended up dying. Obviously, that was not a good thing. And some of that was motivated from this space of depression and I can't make it, and not really even believing in myself. And that is a distinct energy from this energy I'm feeling now. I'm being called to buy a piece of land in the tropics. Yeah! where I can grow my own food and create an off-grid situation where I'm using solar power, I'm using rain catchment, I have my own systems for power, and I'm living in a very minimalistic fashion, not a big, excessive, extravagant, very materialistic fashion, which it's so easy to get sucked into that mentality just living in everyday life, and particularly in the area of the world where I've been living lately is a very wealthy area. And, you know, this place has had its influence on me, and I could feel it and was aware of it. It's shaping and changing me, and even the different kinds of thought forms that were coming in my head about, you know, feminine representations of beauty and, like, you know, wearing makeup, and, you know, a lot of people having like plastic surgery, and really this culture of beauty duty and changing your appearance to look a certain way. And, you know, I let go of all of this stuff a while ago, but then it kind of came back in my life, and no judgment either way. If you're like a supernatural chick, never wear makeup, like, respect if that's your truth. If you feel best with, you know, fake eyelashes and fake tan and, you know, lots of makeup and fake boobs and whatever, like, that's cool too. If that is, you know, your truth, like, I respect that 100% too. I think neither is better or worse, right or wrong. But, you know, all of this crisis in the world really got me to, like, strip down into who am I? You know, why am I here? I've posted about this on my Reiki Instagram, Taylor A. Norris Reiki. I will link that down below. And, you know, having this identity crisis. So yeah, my plan is to go to Hawaii pretty soon on the Big Island where I have lived in the past. And right now they are doing a 14-day quarantine. So I planned an extra long trip to allow for that, you know, with the intention of complying with that. I'm staying with friends who have land and who have a similar setup to what I am wanting to create. What they're doing has inspired me so much to return to Hawaii and do something similar. I did live in Hawaii previously, but I was not in a position to buy land. I was not even in that state of consciousness. I had a bunch of student loan debt at the time, and I had just, like, dropped out of graduate school and, you know, had the student loan debt and didn't have a way to pay it back, you know. And one of the things about living on the Hawaiian Islands is that they really test you, and they really did test me. I had 2 dogs at the time who my mom was caretaking, and she had to send them to me because she couldn't take care of them anymore due to a bunch of, like, family stuff that was exploding at the time. And they were not farm dogs, and when they were sent to me, I was living in this big open farm, and they were not a vibrational match for where I was living. And, you know, Pele, the Hawaiian island, like, the volcano energy, that fire energy, the land energy was testing me. Like, you know, the exchange was feeling like I need to either let go of them so I could stay on the island, or if I was not prepared to let go of them, then I would need to go ahead and leave. And at that time, I could not find any rehoming situation that I felt comfortable and good about, because I am a vegan, I am an animal lover, I am, like, so deeply connected to animals that, you know, I can talk about that in another video. I think I've made some videos on that I could not separate from them without feeling really like they were going to be valued and cared for very, very well. You know, there was, like, an economic thing too. So the Big Island really brings up a lot of root chakra issues, like, how are you going to provide for yourself? Where are you going to live? How are you going to feed yourself? How are you going to shelter yourself? You know, the basic necessities. And during that time, I wasn't able to, you know, plug all those inputs in a way that it worked for me to stay there. So I've learned a lot from that previous experience, and I plan to go back making changes so that it is a sustainable situation. I mean, the very goal of it is sustainable, and I am also returning to the islands with the intention of purchasing land. But if the island does not feel right to me, if I am getting a message like no, or if I cannot find a piece of land that I feel genuinely, authentically called by and invited by, like if that land does not invite me to work with it when I'm there in person, then I'm going to reevaluate and find a different kind of off-grid, sustainable living, grow your own food type environment somewhere else where that invitation is there. I am not returning to the island with the intention of imposing my will on it. I've been feeling called to return to Hawaii the past several years, more and more so the last year, more and more so the last, say, really since my first Reiki training about 9 months ago, almost last September. And then, with my most recent Reiki training, it was really like, like, yes, I'm being called. I don't have the time to ignore the call, so I'm going to explore it. And what's also really interesting, another like synchronistic connection, is that Reiki actually has a historical connection with Hawaii. Reiki, as it is evidence-based, historically referenced, originated from Japan, and during World War II, with all of the Japanese losing the war, bombing Pearl Harbor, all of that, the atom bomb, etc., Reiki had to go underground in Japan, and Reiki was brought to Hawaii by a woman named Takata, who was set up on the Big Island. I'm pretty sure I actually went to a healing center where she had been at one point. And she kind of changed around the history of Reiki, so it sounded like it came from a Christian lineage, when in reality it has Buddhist origins and Buddhist ties with the original recipient of Reiki really wanting an enlightenment experience. And Reiki was given to him in the Satori type enlightenment experience, and he later found out that it heals people too. And this has been very much my experience of Reiki too, is it gives you glimpses of enlightenment, and in doing so it heals you. But not everyone has the knows that that's what's happening, but I do, because I've had many lifetimes before this, like so many. I'm like super freaking old. Anyway, so I will be returning to Hawaii soon, looking for some land, doing an off-grid setup, and as more of that comes forward and materializes, I will be sharing that journey on this channel and on my Instagram pages too. So stay tuned for that. Comment down below if you have any questions, comments, insights. I would love to hear from you, and thank you so much for being here. Please like this video if you like it, subscribe for more videos if you want to hear about more of this journey, and I'm sure there will be more raw food and Reiki type things and holistic health things, because those are parts of my reality. I'm going to Hawaii so that I can grow really awesome fruit. So yeah, much love to you. Namaste. There are free books in the description too if you want a recipe book or a Reiki book. Those are there, so check them out.